The big city, with all the flashing lights and loud noises, it can be a lot. Sometimes, you need to get out for a little bit. See the stars. Feel the cool mountain air against your skin. Maybe join some friends on a camping trip to the Cascade Mountains. Spend your day hiking and taking in the scenery. As night falls, sit around the campfire, roast some marshmallows, and tell some stories. All of a sudden, a yell echoes over the campground. It sounds almost human-like, so you decide to check it out. You hear the rustling in the bushes ahead of you. Turning on your headlamp, you see something hunched over, and it looks hurt. As you step closer, the figure stands up. It's at least a foot taller than you. It turns to look at you, and you realize what this thing is. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a large ape-like cryptid that resides all over North America. But sightings of Bigfoot are most common in the Pacific Northwest. Most people report that Bigfoot stands at 6 to 9 feet tall, but there have been reports of up to 15 feet. Along with being a tall beast, Bigfoot is very muscular, with broad shoulders and long arms, which all make Bigfoot very imposing. This is only exemplified by the black, brown, reddish hair that covers almost every part of its body. But the face and feet remain uncovered. And while Bigfoot is often described as ape-like, its face is frighteningly human-like. This makes you wonder, is Bigfoot friend or foe? To answer this question and all the other questions surrounding Bigfoot, we need to go back to the beginning, to where Bigfoot all began. But where did Bigfoot begin? The idea of a wild man or hairy man can be traced back all the way to European folktales. The Cribs and Fairy book by Andrew Lane and Leonora Ranche Elaine, I totally butchered that, I am so sorry, features a story from Russia known as the Hairy Man. This is a story that goes by many names across the European continent and is one of the first mentions of hairy men in human culture. And if we just hop over the Atlantic into North America, many Native Americans have stories of hairy men as well. The Tule River tribe has stories of a large hairy man who roams the mountains at night. These stories include a story of how all the animals of the mountains made people, and the hairy man was able to convince all of the others to make humans walk on two legs. After they made humans, the humans saw the hairy man, and they were scared. They screamed and ran away, and this made the hairy man very sad. The people would spread out and begin to take over the mountains, and the hairy man went to live among the big trees and hunt only at night so that people wouldn't see him. The hairy man would steal food from the humans if left unattended, but he was also good. He hunted the animals that could harm humans like grizzly bears, wolves, and mountain lions. Parents tell their children to not go down to the river at night, or even stay out at night, because if Bigfoot is hungry enough and he can't find any animals to eat, he'll eat you all up, bones and all. European folktales and Native American stories contributed to the legend of Bigfoot, but it would not be until 1958 that Bigfoot would enter the public eye. Jerry Crew was a bulldozer operator in Humboldt, California, and one day at Six Rivers National Forest, he came across something that would change the world forever. Footprints that appeared human-like, but they were over 16 inches long. Jerry brought this up to his coworkers, who also said they had seen similar footprints and other strange occurrences around the work sites. Eventually, they decided to go to the Humboldt Times with their story on what they called Bigfoot, and the rest is history. Many years later, in 2002, it would be revealed that this was all a prank by a coworker of Jerry's, Ray Wallace. And after he'd passed away, Wallace's family revealed that he had a collection of large wooden feet that were most likely used to make the massive footprints that Jerry Crew and others found on the work sites. But none of this mattered at all, because Bigfoot had already taken over the world. But just why do people like Bigfoot so much? Come to think of it, there are a lot of apes that are popular around the world. Donkey Kong, King Kong, Curious George, Harambe, the list just goes on and on. And people like normal apes too. A video of a monkey or an ape can get millions of views online almost instantly. And I think there's a pretty obvious explanation for people's obsession with apes. Apes are the most similar thing to us that exist. And that's one reason why Bigfoot is so appealing. We love the idea of some ape-like / human-like creature that roams the woods at night, because Bigfoot seems a lot like us. But how exactly is he like us? We've already talked about how Bigfoot's appearance is similar to ours, especially in the face. And humans are the only mammal that regularly walks on 2 legs. While others can at times, like gorillas and chimps, they usually don't for too long. Like us, Bigfoot walks on 2 legs all the time. But we might even have more in common than just that. DNA was observed, and it was concluded that some cross between Homo sapiens and an unknown primate emerged 15,000 years ago. The only problem is that many geneticists who looked at this paper were not too impressed, to say the least. Others speculate that Bigfoot may just be some remnant population of Neanderthals, but there is in fact little evidence for this. Bigfoot has also been known to construct teepees for shelter, and among mammals, only humans and rodents are commonly observed to construct structures, and I don't think Bigfoot is a rodent. Bigfoot has many similarities to humans, that if they aren't human or human adjacent, then what are they? Some believe that Bigfoot is actually an alien visitor and that they use portals to travel around Earth and the entire universe. Yeah, just go with it. Others believe that Bigfoot is actually in the Bible. The Nephilim giants that are mentioned in the Bible are presumed, or by the people who believe this presumed, that these giants are actually Sasquatches. Another theory is that Bigfoot is actually just a giant sloth, which we know did exist at some point, but I don't know. Sure, why not? There are tons and tons of theories about what Bigfoot is and where he came from, but most likely, I think they're probably great ape related, and somehow this great ape population has kept itself secret for thousands of years. The Gigantopithecus, I'm not going to say that right at all. I tried to look it up. I'm just going to call it the Giga for the rest of this, so we'll just do that. So the Giga was a small population of apes that lived in Southeast Asia that supposedly went extinct around 300,000 years ago. But what if this population of apes was somehow able to survive? Based on fossil records, it's believed that Giga had a large brain that could be the largest of all terrestrial creatures. Because animals with larger brains, compared to their body size, tend to be more intelligent, nomadic populations of Giga were able to survive their supposed extinction. While it is not known if they were bipedal, it's definitely possible. Scientists have also reconstructed what they believe that the Giga would have looked like, and the resemblance to Bigfoot is astounding. Some would argue that if Bigfoot does really exist and that they are actually Gigas, or at least related to them, then why haven't we found any fossils in North America? But the reality is that for bones to be preserved or fossilized, the conditions need to be absolutely perfect. We're very lucky that we found any Giga fossils at all, when the reality is there are probably millions of species that we will never know existed. Because of this, it is my opinion that if Bigfoot exists, and we'll get to that if later, that Bigfoot is a giga, or at least a descendant of them. There's loads of evidence of Bigfoot, too much to possibly go over in just one video. But we'll take a look at a few and decide if they are legit or are they a hoax. Spoiler alert, most of them are hoax. Perhaps the most famous evidence of Bigfoot is that of the Patterson-Gimlin film, which was recorded on October 20th of 1967. The film was recorded along Bluff Creek in Northern California and depicts Bigfoot walking through the mountains. You've all seen this. This is the Bigfoot film. And while Patterson died in 1972, he claimed for the entirety of his life, up into his death, that the film was real and it was not fake at all. But Gimlin has claimed that he had no part in the making of the film. And when the film was released, it was met with lots of criticism from the scientific community, and they were largely uninterested in the film. People who believe the film is a hoax argue that humans and apes don't have much hair covering their chests, while the Bigfoot in this film does. Zoologist and the father of cryptology, Bernard Huvelens, probably said that wrong, sorry, believes that the film depicts a person in a Bigfoot costume. Many other scientists who looked at the film claim it is a hoax, or at least there isn't enough to really say it's real. But I will say, some Hollywood costume designers chimed in, and their overall consensus, from what I saw, was that if this was just a person in a costume, it is a very impressive costume and would likely cost tons of money to produce. And obviously, no costume designer has ever come forward saying they've made a Bigfoot costume. Overall, it does appear that there's not enough to say that this film is legit. But if it is a hoax, it's a pretty damn good one because they probably spent a shit ton of money. If we jump 50 years into the future, to 2007, we see some more evidence of Bigfoot. In Pennsylvania, a juvenile Bigfoot was caught on camera. Experts claim that this was just a bear with mange, but the proportions of the creature don't add up. Specifically, both the arms and torso proportions are more like that of a chimpanzee. One thing is for sure, that's not a bear. Now, could it be an actual chimp that escaped from somewhere or something else? Yeah, it definitely could be. But it also could be a little baby Bigfoot just stumbling around. In 2016, near Mount St. Helens, bones were found with bite marks on them. But these bite marks were twice the size of a human bite. But these bites do appear to be human or ape-like, so Bigfoot might be our culprit. But I will admit, I feel like you could easily fake this and I don't know, but you know, who knows? And just last October, Bigfoot was spotted in Colorado. A couple was riding the train through the San Juan mountain range when they all of a sudden spotted Bigfoot. Now this video clearly depicts what appears to be a Bigfoot squatting down by some bushes, and that's really all it is. Now this could obviously be faked as well, but it would take a considerable amount of time and effort to do this, just for a little prank. But it wasn't too far from the nearest train station where it's not a unreasonable walk for someone to make. And apparently there were drones nearby the train at the time, so this sighting is probably a hoax. But it's hard to say if Bigfoot is real or not. There have been over 10,000 sightings of Bigfoot, and that's a lot of people. With most sightings taking place in the US, a handful in Canada, and even a few around the globe. I don't think everyone can be lying. Now, of course, there are tons of people who probably are lying just trying to get some clicks or attention. Others may have just seen some bears or seen something in the woods that they thought resembled a face, but was really nothing at all. They also could have just came across some escaped apes. People keep apes as pets sometimes. Don't do that. Just don't. There's horror stories. I'm sure you've seen them. They're terrible. Maybe someone just saw a glimpse of another person and got scared. It was night, it was dark. Big dude with a big beard walking 20 feet in front of you. That could scare the shit out of you. All of these are probably true and have happened to some extent. But I believe that some people have seen something that they just can't explain. A human ape-like creature that stands on two legs and is covered in loads of hair, but most importantly, has really big feet. The debate of Bigfoot being real will likely go on for as long as humanity exists. But whether Bigfoot is real or not, they have had a big influence. People believe in Bigfoot because they represent freedom. The idea of living on your own, way up in the mountains, where no one can tell you what to do, is very appealing to a considerable amount of people. And Bigfoot gets to live that life. And some Native Americans have claimed that people search for Bigfoot because they seek notoriety and attention that, is very American in a lot of ways. But I believe people search for another reason. People want that sense of discovery that's so hard to get these days. Born too late to explore the world and too early to explore the stars, but born just in time to find Bigfoot. Now, do I believe Bigfoot is real? Nah, not really. Probably not. It's very unlikely. But I still love Bigfoot, and I want Bigfoot to be real so badly. While hiking in the mountains, I always hope to catch a glimpse of the magnificent beast of Bigfoot. But I'll leave you with a quote from Jane Goodall. Well, I'm a romantic, so I always wanted them to exist. Of course, the big criticism of all of this, where's the body? Why isn't there a body? I can't answer that. And maybe they don't exist, but I want them to. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button. Send a like, share with your friends. I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.